Good afternoon, I'm Tyler Fardell with 2NURFM Hunter News. A dodgy building contractor who's previously ripped off dozens of Hunter residents has today been arrested on the Gold Coast. Matthew Rickson first came to the attention of the Department of Fair Trading in 2012 and was banned from working in the New South Wales building industry. Minister for Better Regulation McNeill has been warning Hunter residents not to deal with Rickson for some time and says the arrest came from media attention of the issue.
After a tip from a member of the public, Fair Trading were able to work with New South Wales Police to track him down and arrest him last week in Brisbane. Matthew Rickson is now being extradited to Newcastle, where he'll face charges of contempt of court, amongst other things. It's about time the law caught up with this dodgy operator.
Rickson has been refused bail and will be extradited to Newcastle, where an outstanding arrest warrant will be executed on his behalf. The New South Wales Minister for Primary Industries Niall Blair has announced he'll visit Hunter farms battling the worst drought in decades, after representations made by the Hunter's Parliamentary Secretary. Hunter farmers are also benefiting from a public donation fund, which has so far raised $18,000 and has seen trucks full of hay delivered to some properties. But many farmers are worried if the drought continues much longer, they'll be forced to abandon ship. Parliamentary Secretary Scott McDonald says showing the Minister for Primary Industries the severity of the drought firsthand will get results.
No question about it, lack of water and the pastures are in a very dire state. So great to have the Minister here, great to be going around with Michael Johnson, both across Maitland and Port Stephens and Dungog, those sorts of places. There's nothing to replace seeing this firsthand, getting the messages back to government, talking to the Premier about it, making sure everybody's aware.
There's been a development in federal government plans to conduct seismic testing of Newcastle's coastline later this year. The testing will attempt to determine the suitability of an oil and gas field in the area. A motion to prevent the testing by the New South Wales Greens was yesterday seconded by the state's Resources and Energy Minister Don Harwin, after it was heard 22 threatened species including whales, turtles and migratory birds will be put at risk if the tests go ahead. Greens MP Justin Field says it's now time for action.
Unfortunately, the federal government can override what the state government thinks. The state government has now admitted that they made clear their objection to the proposal and the federal government's proceeding with it. I'm calling on the government to stand with the community. Let's campaign together against the federal government. It's not enough just to simply write a letter. You need to actually advocate on behalf of the community.
New figures suggest Hunter residents are unhappy with their electricity providers, while network privatisation has resulted in local job cuts. Data released by the New South Wales Energy and Water Ombudsman shows statewide customer complaints regarding electrical services have risen more than 25% since 2016. With over 2,000 jobs slashed by new private owners, the Electrical Trades Union believes the data highlights the ongoing failure of the government's privatisation policies. ETU Assistant Secretary Justin Page says the Hunter has seen a reduction in service standards due to these job cuts.
In this area, Ausgrid has reduced staff numbers right across their depots, which has resulted in a reduction in service standards, resources and maintenance, and slower response times to major outages and emergencies.
And Hunter schools are set to get safer as fines increase for traffic offences in school zones. The state government is putting pedestrian safety first, increasing penalties for badly behaved drivers by up to $150. Parents are reminded to park legally around schools and are encouraged to choose safety over convenience as they make the school run.
Sport for our sponsor PRD Nationwide East Maitland.
The Jets have identified the key areas they want to contain of the Wanderers game should they win tonight. Marquee players such as Chris Economidis and Oriol Riera will be Western Sydney's main threats across the park. Winger Jason Hoffman says they'll need to minimise Riera's involvement in particular.
We've got to nullify a few threats that Western Sydney have. Oriol Riera has been a great signing for them, and the threat from wide areas and getting delivery into the box to him is something we've got to adjust for and make sure that we nullify.
Meanwhile, for the women, Jets captain Emily Van Egmond will spend the off-season playing in the US. She'll turn out for the Orlando Pride, where she'll link up with former Matildas coach Tom Samani. It's Van Egmond's fourth stint at an American club and comes in preparation for next year's World Cup. And Knights coach Nathan Brown has confirmed English prop Ryan Sutton is on their radar, but will continue to monitor his situation. He's told current club Wigan he'll leave at the end of the season, with Sutton hopeful he can find an Australian club. That's sport. I'm Madelaine McNeill.
2NURFM news time is 12:10.